Misha Barak. Away from home, close to home. Doesn't matter, we always are cognizant of people who are close to us who are in need of our prayers. When we're away from home, we wonder how they're doing. When we're close to home, we worry about them just as much. And so if you'd like to say the name of someone special in your circle of family and love to be included in our Misha Barak prayer, please stand and say their names, as many names as you would like. Now we all stand arm in arm in solidarity with one another as we join together in our Misha Barak prayer.
Misha Barak Avotenu Mikor Abracha Laimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Barak Imotenu Mikor Abracha Leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. Well, good Shabbos, everyone. So as many of you know, I've just returned this past week from an amazing vacation. All right, it was a vacation. I didn't do anything Jewish, except, have Chinese food, which is very Jewish, right? So I got to tell you about this trip. You know how there are some things that, they seem too good to be true and they're not? Well, this one was too good to be true, but it was. It was true. So I took a little bit of a gamble, and no one would take the chance with me except my younger sister, Lisa. So I went through my wife and my daughter, my son, and now, good luck, Dad, good luck. Because the trip was advertised on a website called TravelZoo for, I think it was $3.99 for a 10-day trip to China, including air. So now it's $3.99, then $200 for the visa, and $200 for the tips, and it includes your hotel, and it included your breakfast. Yes way. So I asked my niece, who had been with TravelZoo before, and she said it's a legit operation, and she'd gone to Europe with them, and they're a low-cost travel. And I have since, mine was a 10-day experience, but I've since seen it advertised for 8 days. It sells out very quickly. So you may say, well, how is it? Well, I washed a lot of dishes. No. There's two things that you have to just accept. Number one, it's cheap because part of the tour you do have to go to these experiences where they try to sell you stuff. All right? So that's the thing. So one day you're getting sold silk. Another day you're getting sold jade. Another day you're getting sold tea. Another day you're getting sold pearls. But the rest of the time you're on a tour, and I saw the Great Wall. I saw, the beautiful. I went on a rickshaw. I had 5-star hotels, folks. Yeah, flush toilets and everything. I mean, I was like shocked. I was prepared for, Motel 6. There was one hotel, the very first one in Beijing, which I knew my wife would not stay at. It was like, oh my God, I'm glad she didn't come. But after that, a couple of them were like the Four Seasons. The funny thing is, we looked on the internet, and at that season, those fancy schmancy hotels were I think we had breakfast on the 32nd floor. It went for $50 a night. So the prices there are different, so that helped. And it was government subsidized. And basically, every time they took you to one of those things for the jade and the pearl and the silk, it was like timeshare, right? And they're telling you, like, if you sleep with this silk, it'll cure your acne, your blood pressure will go down, and by the time you're done, I want to buy silk, I want to buy silk. And you'll get a free suitcase. And you leave and you go through the gift shop. So that's the sacrifice. The other is there were tours that you could buy, like there would be a free day. Some of the people are experienced travelers. Off they went and they figured it out, and others you could pay $45 and then they would take you on a real tour. So the real tours amounted to like another $300. So all in all, it was like, I don't know, $1,100. So, yeah. So if you wonder, how did the rabbi get to go to China? Well, I don't know. So Google Travel Zoo, UTO. The only other caveat that I will say is we lucked out. We had the best tour guide. We know because she told us. And she was so good and funny, and she even sang, and her name was Cynthia. They gave them, the guides, these English names, right? So you get Cynthia. Now, there was another guy, James, and his accent was so thick and stereotypical with the language. If I would have had him, I would be, oh my God, I don't understand a word that he's saying. That probably wouldn't have been as much fun. So I lucked out. There were two groups of about 40, and we ended up with Cynthia, and others ended up with James. And there was one spot where we overlapped, and I had James, and I'm going, I don't know what the guy's saying. But it was fine. I kept saying, you know what? I'm in China. And that's what I wanted to do. It was on my list. I wanted to go to China, and it was unlike what I thought. I didn't see that many people wearing masks. I really didn't. If there was pollution, I couldn't see it. Now, there's a joke in there, all right? I don't know if it was because it was the winter. I'd say maybe 1 out of 100 people wore masks, And I brought back a couple masks as gifts because that's one thing we think of is, they're wearing these masks. The housing, they're building these units of housing that are just like the same over and over and over again because in Shanghai, they only have 30 million people. But it's not like New York City. You go to New York and everyone's walking everywhere. I don't see people walking. I see them on cars, and I see them on the scooters. And then they were underground in those subways and the high-speed trains. But not a lot of walking. Not a lot. Mm-mm. And I went on that high-speed train. That was part of our tours. We went, 15 minutes this way and 15 minutes, and it went up to about 285 kilometers. It was like riding on air. I'm telling you, all the cars seemed new. We said, why are the cars, where are the old cars? And they go, we didn't have cars. So the wealth is really within the last 20 years. And so the cars are new because no one could afford a car. And the way they describe the new philosophy in China, I'm thinking, they're capitalists. They figured out that if people were paid a little bit more, and that so it wasn't just evened out that they would have an incentive to work harder. I'm thinking capitalism. They're capitalists. Let me tell you, after being tried to be sold jade, silk, and pearls, they're really good at it. So in Shanghai, I'm telling you, you saw the stores like the fancy stores like Chanel. What are some of the fancy stores? But they're all there. And yeah, they're all there. Starbucks, it's there. McDonald's, it's there. They have Chinese, there, but we've infiltrated also what we have. So the other thing that kind of struck me was the breakfast. Looked the same as the lunch, looked the same as the dinner. I mean, you want rice, you got rice. You want noodles, you got noodles. You want soup, and this is breakfast. And they don't believe in things hot or cold. It's warm. So the milk is warm for your cornflakes. The orange juice is warm. I don't know, I like cold orange juice. That's just the way it is. The food was, But listen, they're catching up. Now, are there poor people there? Yeah, it wasn't a tour where I was going out to the rural areas. I went to the big cities. So they have about 1.5 billion people. So 200 million are pretty well off, which is, I think, more than our middle class in the United States. But that means 1.3 are poor. That's a heck of a lot of people. They live in apartments, and they pay about $40 a month. And they make about $1,200 a month. But they have enough wealthy people, including billionaires, that's with a B, that are buying all this stuff and are buying cars to get a license. I think it's like $10,000, $15,000, and then that allows you to buy 3 cars. The problem is, I mean, where are they going to put all these cars? The traffic at certain times of day in Shanghai and Beijing is terrible. It's just terrible. But they're very quickly working on all this mass transportation and the subways and all this kind of stuff. They just are building like crazy. So I recommend the trip, and hopefully you'll get a great tour guide. But if not, you'll say, I made it to China. I made it to the Great Wall. I stood there and I said, different than the Kotel. But it is a wall. Now, I was trying to think, well, how am I going to tie this into Judaism? Really small. First was the Chinese food. Okay, now that's very Jewish, especially on December 25th. Okay? So it's coming up that we all have to eat Chinese food. Right? Christmas, that's a tradition. Does anyone know why Jews eat Chinese food on Christmas? Exactly, because they weren't Christian, so it was open. All right. And what about the movie theaters? Because the Jews own the movie theaters, right? Is that right? Okay. So usually when I travel, especially in groups, I don't tell them what I do. And they say, well, why not, Rabbi? It's because every time I tell them a rabbi, they always want to talk about religion, and I just want to get away from it. So I usually just say I'm a teacher. But as soon as you tell them you're a rabbi, that's so exotic to them that, oh my God, can they get married? What do Jews believe? The questions are endless. But after a few days, you feel, well, you're friends with these people, and they ask you what you do. You can only tell, what I could have said I was a belly dancer. I don't know. But I told this one guy, okay, I am, singer. There's a story in that, too. So if you were late, you had to sing. I was never late. But I thought that was a really good tour technique. And the people who were late were always the younger people because they're getting their hair done, and the rest of us, we didn't care. And they did sing for the bus, and it built really good camaraderie. So I may use it on my Israel trip, those of you who are coming with me. So the one guy happened to share that I was a rabbi. It turned out he was a Christian missionary. So, oh my God, every time I'd have a meal with him, he was peppering me with questions and then gave me a lot more. Like 10% were questions, and then 90% was him giving me the answers, okay? And then even on our way out, like to the airport from Shanghai, it was a 2-hour drive to the airport, and I had such an instruction on Christianity for 2 hours. It was interesting. But The one thing I did admire about him, other than the fact that, one, he tithed, which I think is really great. He gives 10%, which the Jews started the concept, but we stopped keeping it up. And he keeps it up, was that he took his vision to help the world, and he bought this house, and he uses it for drug rehab and to help ex-cons get jobs. And I thought, that was a heck of a job. That was really good. So, whether you're Jewish or you're Christian or whatever, sometimes I admire people who get their hands dirty and they figure out a way to repair the world, and this was his calling. And so he's got his whole system, and it may be, based on his philosophy of Christianity, but these folks come as blank slates, and their world is crumbled, and they need to rebuild their lives. And the fact that he tells them that God loves them, I think that's probably the first time they've ever felt loved by anyone in their life, and it does really rebuild their lives. So he's helped about 140 people, which I thought was great. So I told him, look me up when you come to Vegas. I want you to speak to my interfaith group, because I just think it's a great project. If this one man could do it, maybe other people out there could duplicate the concept. It would be nice. So now I thought, well, I got to give you the Jewish sermon. So that's 2 sermons for the price of 1. And I hope that you're going to like it so much that maybe an hour after services, you'll want more. Okay, thank you very much. Did you explain the joke? Thank you. All right. Today's Torah portion, one of my favorites. We got Jacob and Esau, 2 brothers, twins, had a falling out. Years go by. Jacob marries, Esau marries. It's time to return home. Jacob's not sure how he's going to be received. So he goes and he divides his camp in 2, just in case Esau, with his several hundred best friends with him who are going to greet him, and it turns south, that they'll be saved. And while he's wondering what's going to happen, he has that dream that he wrestles with an angel, and his name is changed from Jacob to Israel. Israel is the one that wrestles with God or struggles with God, and we, from that time on, become known as the children of Israel. And it's such a beautiful story in the Bible, because it talks about what is universal, and that is our struggle with God and what it means to have a relationship with God. And also, Jacob's search was for legitimacy. He got blessed, but it wasn't legit. He stole the birthright from his brother. And he said to the angel, he said, "Bless me." And the angel says, "I got to get out of here. The sun's rising." And he says, "Well, I'm not letting you go till you bless me." And that's when he got the name. And so with that official giving of the blessing, he merited it, he earned it, and therefore he could go on in life. Well, known as the children of Israel, it started this process where we more and more developed a sense of national identity. And later on, as the story will progress, what's going to happen? He's going to have a son, Joseph. He's going to be sold into slavery, and then eventually that's going to lead to his brothers and all of them being invited into Egypt, and that's how the Jews end up in Egypt. In Exodus, we're going to read that a Pharaoh arises who knows not Joseph, and we become enslaved for hundreds of years. And during that time, there is this notion of the Jew as other. Here we are, good Egyptians, and the Israelites, well, you know what? They may have been invited into this country, but we don't trust them anymore because they've multiplied, and they're too strong and fertile, and if there's a war, maybe they won't support us. And that's one of the first recorded instances, by the way, of anti-Semitism, and it was based on xenophobia, a fear of the stranger, and it still haunts us to this day. Fast forward, for the purposes of the sermon, and you look at the whole notion of national identity, and it's expressed in some ways with respect to Israel, that there is a Jewish homeland, and the irony is that Jews who live in Israel feel that sense of national identity as Israelis, right? Israelis who are Jewish, right? So there's Israelis and there's Americans and there's French and so forth, Italians, so they are Israelis, and that's a national identity. But there's still something different about Jews. And I get asked this a lot, and I ask people this a lot. Are Jews a race? Are we a religion, an ethnic group, or a nation? And the first thing I want to dispel is we're not a race. The Nazis were the ones who said we're a race. You can't change your race, but you can convert to Judaism, right? So we're a religion. You can change your religion, you're a religion. But because we lived in areas where we only could marry other Jews by design, imposed on us, and then theologically by our religious standards, Jews became very homogeneous genetically and religiously and culturally. And so we're also an ethnic group. We have foods to prove it, right? We got our latkes, and we got our sufganiyot, and we got our bagels, and so forth, and our Chinese food. But we are uncomfortable sometimes when they refer to us as a nation, or even a race, which I dispel, but people are still tempted to call us the Jewish race. And I use that as a background because President Trump signed this executive order, and the first thing I want to say is people have a lot of feelings about this president, right? So I want to say, I don't want you to think, oh, I don't like Trump and therefore everything he does is terrible, or, oh, I love Trump so everything he does is wonderful. I want you to look at just what happened here, because personally, I think what happened here is pretty historic in nature. He did something for our people that no one else did. And despite your feelings, good or bad or whatever, looking at what happened, it's of historic proportions. So what is it exactly? Well, unfortunately, I've talked about this a lot, BDS, Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions Movement, and it's rampant on our college campuses. It's just terrible. It's rampant throughout Europe, and basically the idea is that we want to boycott Israel because it's a racist country, it's an apartheid nation, and we're going to have an economic boycott, and we're going to have a boycott on scientists and on artists, and it just goes on. And therefore, where it's really strong, someone who goes and has plays a rock concert in Israel can lose half their fan base, because on social media they will flame them, and they'll say, how could you go to this bigoted country, this apartheid country, and they go on and on and on, and that person can, if they're not well established, they'll crack, and they'll say, oh, I'm so sorry, and before you know it, these artists won't support Israel. Or you could have a great scientist in Israel, and they'll be excluded from presenting their papers at scientific conferences or sporting events. And whether you think Israel is great or not, listen, Israel's got a lot of political parties. They're going to their third elections. Criticism of Israel is not the point. We've got a whole country that is constantly criticizing itself, and there's a lot right with Israel, and there's a lot wrong with Israel. But unfortunately, when it comes to BDS, it ultimately devolves into anti-Semitism. It is really the new anti-Semitism, which is ironic because Theodor Herzl said, you know what? If they could put on trial Dreyfus, a good Frenchman in France, and they're so enlightened, and create this bogus trial, then we need to listen to the message of our ancestors and have our own Jewish homeland, and that will protect us. And unfortunately, we do have our own Jewish homeland, and it has become a focal point for renewed anti-Semitism. That is the true irony of history. So what does this do? Well, it doesn't solve all the problems of anti-Semitism. No one's going to be able to do that. But it did take place under the backdrop of this shooting of the kosher market, right? and that has been proven now to be racially and religiously motivated, that they wanted to attack it because it was Jewish. And I talked about it at High Holidays. The rise of anti-Semitism, and again, you can talk as another sermon as to why that's going on, but it is going on in Europe, and it's going on here, and it's been going on in the college campuses. So what this does is there is what's called Title VI, and if universities want federal funding, they have to follow certain criteria. They don't have to take federal funding. They can say, we don't want it. We don't want the restrictions that go with it. But it's like anything. It's a free source of money. And for the most part, universities are happy to comply. And it's tied to the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which, quote, prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin in programs and activities receiving federal financial assistance. So a while ago, there was a case that appeared before the Supreme Court, and it was, I think it was 7-0, where they allowed religions like Islam and Judaism and the Sikhs to be accepted under these categories. And so he hasn't broken new ground, but what he's done is taken legal precedent and by executive order said, we're going to make sure that this fits into the criteria. So any university that accepts federal funds had better watch out what goes on their college campuses. Because if this BDS gets out of control, you're going to lose your funding. So to me, that's a good thing. But I want to just say, not everyone, this is very Jewish, not every Jewish organization thought it was great. ADL came out and made a great statement. IAC, of course, Jewish Nevada. Unfortunately, my own, what do you call it, union, if you would, did not come out in favor of it. And I'm going to quote what she said, just so you know kind of another side, which I disagree with in this case. The head of the Reform Rabbis wrote, there are many concerns and ideas in the conversation swirling around the executive order. The concepts meant to ostensibly protect us can also potentially be dangerous. While we want college campuses to be safe spaces for Jews and for all students, we also want to protect free speech and not infringe on the First Amendment. We also don't wish for Jews to be othered. Whether we're a religion, an ethnicity, or a nation is an age-old Jewish debate. It's a healthy debate, and it's up to the Jews to define themselves, not the president or the government. I respect her right to write that. I just totally disagree with it, because anytime there's a law that's written that applies to categories of people, they have to come up with a legal definition. And all that they did is they took a definition by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, which dozens of countries accept their definition of what anti-Semitism is, and says, we're going to use that definition. And the State Department already uses it. So it's not as if the president came up with his own definition of anti-Semitism. He found an organization that is legit and said, that'll be the standard, and we'll go with it. And secondly, it won't infringe on freedom of speech. Not going to do that. People are still going to be allowed to express their opinions. But when it goes into the area of anti-Semitism and hatred and ends up where Jewish kids are attacked on campus and not made to feel safe, the colleges better get their act together. Right now, in theory, they should already have their act together. This just allows us to have one more tool to push against the college administration and say, hey guys, you know, you're violating the law, and therefore you really have to do something. So I just want you to know, maybe in the ONEG we'll come out and we'll have a little fruitful discussion. But in this particular case, I think this is something historic, and it's something that had been talked about really in the past two administrations. And by executive order, he's got it done. Not as strong as if it was passed by Congress. It passed, something similar passed the Senate 99-0, but it couldn't pass the House. And that was the trouble. That's why you needed an executive order. But of course, an executive order, as we know, is only as long as that president, and then the next guy or woman can undo it. But for now, I think it's a win. So you have two sermons, hopefully. I don't know how to tie them together, other than I was really glad to have time away. But as soon as I got back, being Jewish embraced me right away and said, you better think about your religion, Rabbi. A lot is going on. Shabbat shalom, everybody. All right, 586. Let us rise for Aleinu.
Ladon hakol, latek gedula lefse breshit, shelo asanu kareya haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot hadama, shelo samchalkenu kahem, vegor aleinu lechol hamonam, vanachnu Mishtachodim umodim Lifnei melech Malchei hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'ne'emar Behavai Adonai Lamelech HaKol ha'aretz Bayom
Maxine just whispered to me, I forgot birthdays. How many of you are here for birthdays? Well, come on up. Let's do birthdays. We'll have a little fun. Come on up, come on, come on. Come on, birthdays, birthdays. All right, no more December birthdays? Oh, here we go. So I hope you weren't born during Hanukkah, because then you don't, I mean, do you get double presents? You do? Some years? All right. When is your birthday?
December 21st.
December 21st. All right.
December 30th.
30th. Okay.
December 25th.
Right there. Merry birthday. December 25th, she said. Yeah, so you get a little. Yeah. Fine. I'll work on my jokes. When's your birthday?
She said 28th.
28th? Okay. You're over there for the 28th. Okay. When's your birthday?
December 19th.
19th. Oh, goodness. You're all the way over here. And when is your birthday?
I speak for us both when we say that it is on the 16th.
You were born in the same day? Yeah. Who's older? I got her speechless. All right. Over there. Over there. First time Maggie is speechless. All right. She was trying to think, what do I say? And then come back to the rabbi. All right. So from the 16th to, what did we say, the 30th? 30th. That's pretty good. So I don't know what happened the first 2 weeks of December. They were not They were not deemed birthday worthy, right? So for most of you, Hanukkah does fall during your birthdays occasionally, so that's great. And what is a good birthday memory? A good birthday memory. Exactly. Okay, anyone else want to share a good birthday memory? Okay. No, a good memory. Well, it's got to be good. This is a happy little thing.
But mine is the shortest day of the year.
Okay.
Sad for me as a little girl.
It was the shortest, by how much?
The street lights went on, so I had to go in.
Oh, you had to go in. Okay, I'm thinking she lost like 20 minutes. Okay. What's a happy memory? Come on, Joy.
Birthday parties.
Okay, birthday party's good. Nicholas, you got to have a good one from the old country. Come on now. Exactly. Okay, we're doing really good. I think people born in December are speechless.
In my opinion, my favorite birthday memory, it hasn't been made this year yet, but I know that it's going to be super awesome because it's on Monday, and I'm going to get to spend the day with all my friends.
Oh, very nice. I'll see you then. She's going, what? You're all invited, friends. All right. No more memories. You listen, this is my shtick, and they're trying to change it. It's not a memory, Rabbi. This is not that hard. Did I lose one?
I'll do one.
Okay, we'll come back to you because Leah is trying to redefine. It's not a memory, Rabbi, but go ahead.
Because it keeps coming to me. Oh, your Christmas baby. Because when I'm on the phone and tell them, some information about myself, they ask of date of birth and everything. Oh, your Christmas baby. So sometimes I do tell them, no, I'm my mom's baby, Rachel.
Okay. All right, Cassidy, go ahead.
So my best memory is my daughter was born on my birthday at 11:56 p.m.
All right.
That's right.
Just in the nick of time. God, what if the clock was slow, though? All right. So, last thing. What is a lesson learned? You can skip it. Lesson learned, a really good lesson. All right? I know you're going to say something sweet, so I'm going to have you last, okay? A lesson learned?
What's a lesson you learned?
Okay, what'd she say?
Be a good girl.
Listen to mommy.
There, that's true of any age, don't you think? Listen to mommy. Okay.
Don't get upset at people that forget your birthday when it's at the holidays.
Oh, that's good.
Be positive so you will earn in your life. Yes.
Celebrate whatever it is, whenever it is.
Oh, again, birthday.
That's what you learned?
You would have to accept challenges if you want change.
I do too, okay? The first one is that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is a small voice at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow. And then my other one is, don't ever look down on people unless you're trying to bring them up.
Very good. All right. I know. All right, let's all rise for a little birthday blessing. She'll be Times Woman of the Year, right? We'll get her. She won't have to wait till she's 16. Let's all rise. Here we go. Rabbanu Shalom, Master of the Universe, we give thanks for so many blessings in the month of December. As we celebrate Hanukkah, this holiday of freedom, of rejoicing, of Judaism and Jewish values, we also take a moment to celebrate these birthdays. For within them there's the celebration of Jewish values, but also the celebration of life itself. For each one of you, I want you to remember that you are cherished, you are blessed with friendship, you are blessed with community, you are blessed with life's wisdoms that have touched your heart and stayed with you. May you find that as you look back upon the years that are past, that the softness of memory brings a shine to those memories for the good. And that the times that were hard, well, they're softened, but the times that were good are brightened. And may the years that lie ahead bring to you a source of strength and nachas, and a reminder that you are loved and cherished for who you are. Yevarechecha Adonai vayishmerecha. May the Lord God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yikunecha. May the Lord God cause the light of his countenance to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord God grant you long life, happiness, and peace always. Amen, amen, and mazal tov. All right, let's sing it. Tova, mazel tova, mazel tova. 598 is our Kaddish prayer. With sadness, we recall those who have died in the past few weeks. Shirley Murkow, Jeremy Poster, Sandra Porter, Rabbi Herschel Brooks, Mary Peach Armenta, Jerry Fox, and Jean Gallo. The Yortsites of Solomon Baggin, Yetta Baggin, Regina Sharon, Sidney Cohen, Martin Eisenhart, Joseph Elbinger, Minnie Etkin, Anne Frank, Kiva Goldfarb, Jack Garoff, Florence Gross, Sadie Harris, Molly Kallick, Bernice Kaplan-Barr, Gertrude Kirschbaum, Coleman, Lehrman, Vivian Klein Markowitz, Dora Morningstar, Lawrence Mushkin, Louis Myers, Irving Naftalin, Betty Nathan, Walter Nathan, Marilyn Osher, Sam Papauser, Larry Rothman, Elsie Sarr, Sarah Sendrow, Philip Serling, Muriel Stevens, Sidney Tabak, Gazetchen Tedia, Alice White, Eric Wolf. If you'd like to say the name of someone who was not mentioned, please stand and say their name. Let us rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei rabbah b'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute v'chayichon v'yomechon v'chayedecho be Yisrael b'agalav izman kari v'imru amen Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam omei omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, Shemei kusha barichu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, Tush bechata v'nechemata, Damiram b'alma v'yamru, Amen. Yehi shlom araba min shamay v'chayim, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yamaru, Amen. Oz he shalom b'mramav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yamaru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Please be seated. A couple quick reminders. Next week, services begin at what time? Exactly. You want some free latkes at the Latka Bar? RSVP, please. I know some of you are going, well, I don't want to RSVP. But then we're going to run out of food. So please RSVP. If you're not a member, it's $10 a head. And you say, well, I don't want to pay $10. Perfect. Join the temple. That would be great. We'd love to have you as members. All right? So that's a terrific thing. Second night of Hanukkah. Does anyone know what day that is? It's a Monday. 23rd. So that's when we're going to be in the district. Okay? So I think it starts at 5:30. Dress warm. Rabbi Mendy, myself, Rabbi Tektil, and the dancing dreidels. So support that. There is, every night of Hanukkah, there's something going on. Even at the ice hockey rink, they're going to do Hanukkah this year. So we're covering the city, and that's a great thing. Number 3, there's someone who needs a ride home. They don't live far from the temple. Live near Stephanie, on the street Stephanie. So if you could just come up to me, I'll make a match, and we'll get that person home safely. All right, so just come up to me. A little Kiddush and Motzi, so come on up if you are a religious school student. Come on up if you've been to China. If you've been to China, come on. Oh. A few of you have been to China. But you've just been? Yeah. But it wasn't Shanghai unbelievable with the skyscrapers?
Did you see the highest?
Yeah, I was on the top. Yeah. It was pretty tall. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Okay, here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Oh, thank you. Glory, Maxine, Ricky, thank you very much. And we are so delighted that you guys could be here tonight. The cantor is posting some baby pictures, right?
Amazing.
Those words are for why the word adorable was created. Really, really good. Yeah. Can't say rabbi yet, but I'm working on it. Okay, come on, baby. That's his first word, right?
Oh boy.
She told me the baby's now 10 pounds, though. That's
good.
That's good. That's a big baby. That's right. So, final song.
Olam Chesed.
Olam Chesed, which is about a world of happiness and joy and kindness. So let's end with that. I'll make my way to the back for the receiving line, but we did say the blessing, so enjoy the Oneg Shabbat.
Olam Chesed Yibane Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai Dai Olam Chesed Yibane Yada Lai 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 Yada Lai Lai Olam Chesed Yibane Yada Lai Dai Dai Yada Dai Dai Olam Chesed Yibane Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai Dai I will build this world from love Yada Dai 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 Yada Dai Dai
And you must build.
And you must build this world from love. Yada
then
God will build this world from love. Yada da da da, yada da da. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yada la da da, yada da da. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yada da da da, yada da da.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.